I mean, talk about a transition. On Tuesday, he conducted an interview with Kamala Harris that was so simpering and feminine, I got my period while listening to it. You should hear what keeps him up at night.
This is what keeps me up at night. I don't understand how my fellow Americans, I don't even understand how this election is close. And yes, I'm voting for you, but I would also vote for that wall over there.
Well, he's half right. We do need a wall. To keep out gang members, fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and Anna Navarro.
Man, this was one of those moments you don't see coming. Greg Gutfeld drops this super casual line mid-interview, and Howard Stern just freezes. I mean, the guy blinked like 10 times in 5 seconds. He tried to brush it off, but his voice cracked. That usual Howard swagger? Gone. And Greg? Calm as ever, just staring back. You could tell Howard didn't expect it, at all. No script, no comeback, just silence. And that silence? It said everything. Everyone watching felt it. It wasn't TV, it was real. Wild stuff.
Stern got even more pathetic, wondering how she doesn't nap.
When you said you don't nap, I get it, because like what you've taken on is extraordinarily difficult. And I mean, do you feel the pressure of the moment in the sense that, like when I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country.
Hold on. I need a minute.
Okay, picture this. Howard Stern, live on air, doing his usual thing, talking big, running the room. Then Greg Gutfeld hits him with a one-liner, not even yelling, just dropping facts. Howard's face changed instantly. He stumbled, cleared his throat twice, and started talking in circles. It wasn't anger, it was panic. Real, visible panic. Like, he knew he'd been caught off guard, and there was no way to spin it. The energy in the room shifted. And you know when the loudest guy suddenly goes quiet? Yeah, that. Crazy moment.
All right, we're back. Now remember, Stern used to throw bologna slices at strippers' butts. With accuracy, I might add. Now he's worried the possible leader of the free world can't handle his verbal foot rub. I wonder if he used to get this nervous for the strippers before he'd spank them on their bare asses with a dead fish. Here's Stern on anyone daring to poke a little fun at Kamala.
So here's the twist, Howard Stern, the king of confrontations, got cornered live. And not by some random caller, by Greg Gutfeld. Howard was cruising through the convo, full control, until Greg dropped something unexpected. Boom. Stern paused, laughed awkwardly, and you could see him scrambling. He kept glancing off-screen, trying to pivot, but it didn't work. Greg just sat there, smiling, letting it all unfold. Howard had no playbook for this. For once, he wasn't running the show. The irony? The guy who built his career on exposing others just got exposed himself. On his turf.
So a guy who's supposed to be funny for a living now claims her candidacy is too important to joke about. This is a guy who once joked right after the Columbine massacre that the killers should have raped the students before killing them. Not that I like that Stern, but this pendulum swing from saying the most tasteless thing in the universe to putting your balls in a Tic Tac container. You gotta wonder what's going on here. It's striking that the king of the most misogynistic humor ever now turns into a breathless over a progressive, hopelessly shallow candidate.
Howard probably thought it was just another edgy segment. Joke here, insult there, nothing he hasn't seen before. But Greg Gutfeld came in prepared. No shouting. No drama. Just one clean, surgical question, and boom. Howard went stiff. Tried to laugh it off, but you could hear it, his voice shook. Not rage. Not sarcasm. Just panic. You know those moments where someone realizes the crowd's not with them anymore? Yeah, that was it. Greg didn't even gloat. He just let Howard sink. It wasn't a roast, it was a quiet, brilliant trap.
But maybe that's the explanation. This is Stern's self-imposed penance for subjugating women to demoralizing stunts, capitalizing on desperate females thirsting for attention, even if it's from an oily paddle striking their bare asses. True, much of Stern's transformation is based mainly on a delusional hatred for Trump, but it's also coming from a bottomless hatred for himself and his past. And he's projected his loathing onto Trump, which gains him accolades from his Hamptons neighbors and his new pal Jimmy Kimmel, who's also doing penance for his sins of the past.
There's drama, and then there's poetic justice. Howard Stern, known for making guests squirm, finally got a taste of his own medicine. Live. Greg Gutfeld didn't yell or argue. He just laid down a fact and waited. Howard's reaction? Totally out of character. He hesitated, looked nervous, and even his voice lost that usual edge. For a moment, he wasn't the alpha. He was cornered. And the best part? Greg didn't push. He didn't need to. The silence said everything. And the audience? Oh, they noticed. Big time.
And so, Howard, you've been in therapy for what, 50 years? And I just diagnosed your problem in one monologue. No worries, the first visit is free.
You know when a conversation turns, and someone just loses grip? That was Howard, live. Greg Gutfeld brought up something subtle, but loaded. Howard tried to deflect, but his voice lost its rhythm. He fumbled a bit, cracked a joke, but no one laughed. Greg didn't raise his voice. Didn't even change tone. Just stayed steady. Howard kept talking, but it felt off, like he knew the room had changed. It wasn't a debate. There was no back and forth. It was checkmate, and Howard didn't even see it coming.
The sad part, she had to look at her driver's license first. She also appeared on Howard Stern, where he said he'd even vote for a wall over Trump. Harris replied, "I'm not a wall, but I am plastered." New York Times opinion piece says we should abandon the idea of masculinity.
This one was different. Howard Stern, usually 10 steps ahead, got caught flat-footed. Greg Gutfeld, sitting across from him, dropped a quiet truth bomb. Nothing flashy, just a line that hit. Howard leaned back, laughed nervously, then tried to redirect. But the vibe had shifted. You could see the wheels spinning, like he was trying to figure out how to recover without making it worse. And Greg? Just nodded, gave nothing away. That moment? It felt less like TV and more like a reality check. Live. No retakes. You know those moments on live TV where the energy just shifts? That's exactly what happened when Greg Gutfeld sat across from Howard Stern. It started out normal, Howard doing his thing, cracking jokes, keeping it loud. But then Greg dropped a question. Calm, quiet, but loaded. And suddenly, Howard wasn't the guy in control anymore. His voice, usually so sharp, got weirdly shaky. He paused, looked off camera, like he was trying to figure out if this was a joke. It wasn't. You could see it in his face. Panic. Not the cartoonish kind, real, uncomfortable tension. He tried to pivot, change the topic, but Greg didn't bite. He just waited. That silence? It was heavy. Like, the kind that makes everyone lean forward and go, wait, what just happened? And in that moment, Howard Stern, radio legend, media powerhouse, looked like just another guy who got caught off guard. No edits. No handlers. Just live truth hitting hard. People watching didn't just see an awkward exchange, they saw a power shift, in real time. No yelling. No drama. Just a clean hit, and Howard couldn't recover.